Hey, howdy ho, Lions fans. Welcome to the Detroit Lions podcast. This is episode 436. I guess the question is the Detroit Lions rebuild stalling? We'll talk about that. This is the official Detroit Lions podcast for the Reddit. I am your dashing host, ultimately dashing host, Chris, and with me is my good friend and competitively dashing co-host, Jeff, the Riz Risden. How are you doing? I really should think of that before what I want to say before I do, but this is where we're at today.
Everything is always better spontaneously, Chris. You know that. That's just the way that we operate. It's good to be with you. It's good to be talking about the Lions, even though there's not a lot of positives to talk about with this team right now. But it is what it is, man. We've been to this rodeo before. The Bronco keeps bucking, and we will keep bucking along too.
Yeah, what the buck are we doing? Brah. All right, yeah, we'll talk about a lot today. I mean, there's some good. It's not all bad. There's some good to find in this team, and we'll peel out some of those pieces, but we're not going to pull any punches on the areas that really need some help. We'll talk about all those things. We'll review the Cowboys game. We're going to talk about the return of Josh Pascal, the conundrum that is Jared Goff, something we call crossing the threshold. We'll talk about that. A look ahead to the Miami Dolphins and a whole lot more. We've got a great show lined up, as always. Riz, are you ready to go, my man?
Yes, let's do it.
Let's kick this off and break it down.
All right. Everything's quieter. I'm like, oh yeah, I turned my headphones down. All right, here we are.
Wow, I blend with the wall here. My switch. I'm gonna fix that for a second.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Be right back.
All right, while he does that, we're going to talk about the St. Jude 24-hour show. It begins on December 9th, December 10th. It's a 24-hour show. We'll go at it. We'll have some special guests. We'll do some special programs. We've got a global event, as we've talked about, that we're working on. And we're going to have the culmination of our big auction that we do every year. We have some really special stuff in there. Always looking for any donations on that as well. Appreciate if you guys have any of that. That will start on Black Friday. What better time to start an auction? So, and again, if you get any donations that you could give away for prizes along the way, it's Chris at DetroitLionsPodcast.com. If you want to email me, or you can DM me on the Twitter. December 9th and 10th, St. Jude, 24-hour show. Auction begins on Black Friday, culminating at that show. All right, last, we also have to thank subscriber Fuzzy Warlord. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. We appreciate you for doing that. All right, let's get into it. First, we want to talk about the Dallas Cowboys game, review the game. Riz, what a show, huh?
I mean, it was fun for a while. It was actually, for the first 3 quarters of the game, it was a very competitive game. The Lions had every chance to be in that game and win the game. And then a lot of mishaps happened in a very short amount of time, and it went by very quickly. And that was very frustrating.
Yeah. DCP1 asks, are we really the worst team in the league? As of right now, indeed we are. Indeed
you are what your record says you are. No. As Bill Parcells said it. That's who Dan Campbell learned from. You better believe that if you ask Dan that question, he would say, yes, that's what your record says you are.
Yeah.
I don't think he believes that they're the worst team in the league. I don't necessarily believe that this is the worst team in the league either, but you can see the bottom from there. Let's put it that way.
Oh man! All right. Well, Hodges, I'll get into that with you on the DL. So let's talk about the game. I want to first off, because I want to get it out of the way, and it's still a part of thing. The people say, but that's not why. But I know that's not why. I know that's not why we lost. But the interception. The officiating overall was just ass in this game.
It was terrible.
It was really bad, and it was entirely one-sided. And I haven't gone and rewatched the game, so there may have been a call or two that went the other way. I don't remember them, and I didn't do a rewatch. Just I buried the tape. It's my turn to do that. But I try to pull my glasses off, but I go through just so many pieces. The Jerry Jacobs pass interference, that was like the Hitchens pass interference that was picked up, and it was exactly the same play on the other side of the field, face guarding. I mean, it's like, what the heck? The interception that was dropped, that they said they reviewed, but they did it in record time, and it was an obvious drop. I mean, nobody should have. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, Riz. Am I looking at through the glasses, or was that really a drop?
I think that call would have stood with whatever was on the field. I don't think he got it clean, but he kind of had control as he hit the ground. And while it did move, it didn't move to the ground.
It moved after the ground. He didn't have control through the process.
Like if they would have called it no catch on the field, I would have agreed. But again, you're talking about the burden of proof of what is it? Irrefutable evidence to the contrary, and I didn't see that. I understood why that call would stand. I don't believe in their explanation that Dan Campbell was told that it was reviewed from afar, and I think that's a problem that specific officiating crew had some issues with, because there was another one, the Brock Wright touchdown, which and I'll say it right now, he was not in the end zone. He
100%.
got stopped.
100%.
Clear, irrefutable evidence that he was stopped. His knee was down and the ball wasn't forward.
100%.
Like no question about that. But that should have been reviewed because it was a potential of a touchdown play, and it did look. The guy who was right there, that would be the field judge, did not raise his hands. The official on the other side of the field did. That means you review it.
Yeah,
they didn't do that. That's a blatant violation of NFL procedures, and they didn't do it. And that is on the referee, but it's also on the officiating supervisor who's in the game controlling that, and they didn't do their job. And that's.
Do you want to talk about the hold, the helmet hold? They called that out on Twitter. But it was such.
So it was here. Like the guy reached behind him across his head and yanked it back. Like it was a hold of the ear flap. It wasn't a face mask. He actually got under it.
Yeah.
But it was obvious.
Yeah.
I will say from the rewatch, I did see 2 holds on the Lions that didn't get called. But on the very first play of the game for Dallas's defense, 3 guys lined up off sides.
and can we say that the hold on I'm like doing too many things at once. Taylor Decker, that wasn't a hold, right? He was inside. He was inside the frame. You can grab jersey there. That wasn't a hold.
They sold that one well. I give the Cowboys a little bit of credit. They did sell that well.
So anyway,
I don't
anyway,
necessarily
it's
think
not
that
why
was
they
a hold
lost.
either.
It's not why they lost. But if it had been a close game, can you imagine just the explosion of anger? And this is where, you expect the officials to do their job. I keep saying hire Blandino back, man. Hire Blandino. He brought so much good transparency to the XFL, but it's so bad that if we were close, potentially slightly winning, we would have lost this game because of some really shady calls. And it's interesting with the Lions. This has been true in all of history, and it's frustrating as F to me. But after that interception, and after that crappy spot, that you're like, wait a minute, what's going on? You see it, and you're starting to get worked up and frustrated at it. The Lions just collapse every single time. Oh my God, it drives me nuts. How? Why? How? What?
Do not. It's weird because we used to have this conversation in Michigan football circles about how bad Jim Harbaugh was at handling officiating adversity. And Dan Campbell has the same damn problem.
But it was Caldwell. It was Patricia. It was Schwartz. It goes back forever. You'll see these games where they're close and something like that'll happen, and it's just like someone said, okay, it's time for the Lions to lose. They flip the switch and they just fall off the face of the earth. It happened against the Dallas when we were in the playoffs with the picked up flag, the crappy call in this. I'm remembering this, but not the play. But in New Orleans when we were in the playoffs, the team just fell apart after that. Every time it seems when there's some janky call like that, the team just disintegrates.
They don't have that resolve. This team especially doesn't have it, and that's so. There were. We'll get on this for a second. The 2 key plays in the game that decided the game for me were Jamal Williams' fumble right after the Brock Wright was down, and then the body slam that wasn't called because that fundamentally changed the play call. And I think it was the next play where Jared Goff, there was a turnover. I forget what it was. I think it was an interception. It might have been a strip sack. I don't know. There were so many of them, and they all blade together. Yep. But it changed what the dynamic of the Lions offense was going to do and created a negative situation. Now, could they have avoided that? Yes, they could have. But that inability to respond to that, and that's a clear penalty. You can't do that, especially after the officials have already blown the whistle. We saw it in Dallas the last time we were there.
Yep. Exactly. And then another thing, and this is unfortunate, the concussion protocol piece for Amon-Ra looks like there was nothing there at all, and they make this real janky he's got to sit call, and again, if it's true, I'm absolutely certain that I'd want him to sit. I wouldn't want him to play even with a hint of a problem, but they turn around right after that and did the suplex, and there's no flag at all. It's like, are you for player safety or is there something else? You can't help but ask, right? You just can't help but ask, and I know it's not the case, but that's frustrating. So okay, thanks for letting me gas on the refs. This was just an added frustration to a frustrating game. Let's start with something.
They didn't decide it, but they certainly the what is it, the finger that you put on the scale was on the Dallas side. There's no question about that.
Yeah, there you go. All right, let's talk about something a lot more pleasureful, pleasing, whatever. Josh Paschal back.
Okay.
He showed up.
That is pleasure.
Yeah. He showed up, and for his first game, he made a difference, and not just for him, but for the next guy we're going to talk about too, for Aiden Hutchinson. Loved what Josh did on the field. Joshua, I believe. Really, really excited for what he brings to this team and what he can do, because that made a big difference between him and we'll talk about Okudah too. The difference they made on the defense this week was incredible.
Josh Pat. So I have if you're watching this live on Tuesday night, first off, thank you for watching. Click the like and subscribe so you know when we're going to be on, because this is an unusual time. This is exactly why you click on the subscribe button, so you understand when we're doing things that are a little out of order. My life is chaos this week. I carved out a little bit of time tonight to be with y'all and with Chris, and I'm grateful that Chris was amenable to it. But this is why you click on the like and subscribe button, so you know that when like, hey, why are they on Tuesdays? Well, it's weird, but that's why you do it. But back to Paschal, I have a piece coming at Lions Wire tomorrow morning where I did this week's film spotlight review. I've done it on Okudah and Hutchinson. I did one on Rodrigo. This one is on Josh Paschal, and it is written. I'm holding it to publish in the morning. If you like Josh Paschal, you're really going to like it, because he was impactful from the very first play of the game.
Yep.
He lined up. I'll do this quick. He lined up as the right defensive end, a 4 technique, straight up on the tackle. He went straight forward and then twisted his guy inside. It freed up the guard from blocking Isaiah Buggs. Isaiah Buggs got a clean run at Dak Prescott. Now, Prescott rolled out to the right. If Julian Okwara stays home, he's got an easy sack, but Julian Okwara ran for no apparent reason into the middle of the field and then had to run back out. That's why Dak was able to get the pass off. Okwara, by the way, don't believe the hype. He wasn't that good. He was fine as a pass rusher. If he's on the field and run defense, it's a net negative. It's like playing 10 on 11. He can't do it. It's bad, folks.
He was in a good spot a couple of times and got his name called. So, but you don't want to kind of use that as a means to evaluate his whole game. That's what I'll kind of evaluate. Okwara. Yeah.
So second down, Paschal lines up as the 3 technique on that side, and that play they blew up a run. He beat a double team. Third play of the game, left defensive end 7 technique. That's the play where Aiden Hutchinson got a 1-armed sack because they're double teaming Josh Paschal on the other side. Now Hutchinson, by the way, wasn't also the only guy to win on that rep. Anzalone had a beautifully timed blitz that helped out too. That took the running back out of the way, so Aiden basically had a 1-on-1. But the ability to move Paschal around like that on the very first drive, played 3 very distinct different positions, and did them all very well in his first NFL game. Hell yeah!
Exactly. I get the little bit of goosebumps on what Paschal could potentially bring to this team, having seen that. Now, it seemed towards the end of the game he might have been a little bit gassed, and again,
definitely,
he
ran out of gas. And I will say the whole team, after Jamal's fumble and then the next turnover, like, the defense was done. They're like, we've done all we can do. Come on, guys! Like, it was clear that the wind had gone out of their sails.
Yeah.
Not just Paschal, that was the entire team, and I don't really blame them for that.
Yeah. All right, so Josh Paschal's a real highlight. Aiden Hutchinson, if it wasn't Paschal getting doubled, it was Hutchinson, but he broke through a couple times. Again, you can scheme Hutchinson, but you put another piece of the puzzle out there. Aleem quietly played well. I like Aleem a lot. God, he's such a great guy and just a
when
solid
Aleem is
defensive
not
player.
your best defensive lineman, he's really good. He has been the best defensive lineman most of the season. And you see what good you get out of that. Like, he's not an impact player, but he's a really good complementary player, and he's allowed to be that now with Paschal back. And look, John Kaminsky only played, I think it was 10 reps. I like when I go through and do the plus minus thing with all the guys, I know what's going on with the other guys. Kaminsky would have had 5 pluses in 10 plays. That's pretty good.
Yep. Riz, what are your thoughts on trading Goff during the window? Oh, we'll get to Goff, but he's not a free agent. We got 2 years left on his contract, don't we? After this one,
Yes, he is signed through 2024.
Yep.
He has as much trade value as what's in my trash can right over there.
Kirby Joseph out there.
Played well.
Big spotlight, highlight reel type of hit on Brown. That was great. Knocks the ball out. We get the recovery. Love it. And here's a guy, he didn't expect him to start. You didn't expect him to play as much as he is. You didn't expect Tracy to pay Tracy Walker all that money and have him get hurt, right? So to see Kirby week 1, you can't expect a whole lot out of a guy like that. A young, where he was drafted. It's just a lot to ask to see him ball out week 1. But it looks like he's coming along well. He played pretty well out there. He's still a rookie, but overall, I mean, I'm high on Kirby right now.
I think and I will give Aaron Glenn some credit here because I think he deserves it. As much as we've crapped on him, and by the way, he deserved it. He has done a very fine job the last couple of weeks. Look, what do I say? If you listen to me on the Huge Show, I say this all the time. Good coaching means letting your best players do what they do well often. Mm-hmm. I think Aaron Glenn has realized the error of his ways and trying to ask them to do things that they're not going to be good at. And I think it's shown. Asking Aiden Hutchinson to stand up on the outside. Hello, everybody who watched him, even State fans who can't stand him and never will. And I don't, never, I'm not even going down that. It's Michigan State week. You can have your hate. I don't really give a crap. So, but he's asking Kirby Joseph, okay, I'm not going to ask you to do 3 things on a play. I'm going to ask you to read 2 things and go with your instinct and on 1. And that's kind of what Illinois did. Yep. Like Jeff Okudah, you're the best tackler on the team. Go freaking tackle people. Do it. And let's have you play so you're looking into the backfield or watching what's happening instead of turning your back to the rest of the play. It's little things like that Aaron Glenn has adjusted that you've got to give him credit for. Look, I know everybody still thinks that he's a terrible coordinator and wants him run out of town. I will tell you the last 2 weeks, and specifically this past week, I saw a lot of progress from this defense, and the defense played more than well enough to win. The offense completely let them down.
100%.
New England, they had some gaps, but I will say, having watched, I've weirdly watched every Bailey Zappi play this year. That guy's good. I know it didn't end well for New England on Monday night, but
he's fun to watch for sure. He's definitely fun to watch.
He throws the ball down the field and just doesn't care. And I think I forget who said it. Somebody said it, but the 2,200 passes that he threw in high school and college, like he's kind of prepared to do that. That's what he does. And what does New England ask him to do? They ask him to throw.
Hopefully that
good coaching. It's not hard.
Hopefully that doesn't have the kind of wear that it does on a running back with that many runs versus throws. Want to talk about Larry? Thank you so much for the super chat, my brother. I'm sick of my team in the basement, man. I could not be more with you than that statement. Absolutely frustrated as all get out with this team. Expectations were so much higher. Performance hasn't been there. We're going to talk about that. We're not going to excuse it, right? There's 2 sides of the story. Some real serious things to look at, and some things that you can use to kind of understand why. But it doesn't change the fact that you are now picking number 1 overall in the league, and that's something that we have to talk about. But we'll get there. We'll get there very shortly. Jeff Okudah. Let's talk about Jeff Okudah. You talk about a guy. We talked about him at the beginning of the year and how just I felt it to my core how I wanted Jeff Okudah to step up this year and become the player that we drafted, the guy we knew. What was it, 14 tackles this last game? 15. Played like looked like a linebacker out there. You know what I mean? My guy, but not like a Lions linebacker, like a good one. He was just smoking players. I have got to, again, props to Jeff Okudah for coming back through all the adversity and pain that he went through to get to where he is now. Big, mighty props on Jeff Okudah. And the performance this week, I think, is the icing on the cake of his return.
He's had one bad game out of 6. I'll take that. From a cornerback coming off of what he's come off of, and with all the adversity that he's faced, you probably 5 out of 6 games good? Yeah, give me that.
Yeah, absolutely. WMW2, the Ohio Bobcats stink. Fire up chips, Jeff. There you go. A little bit of poke.
We're not great. We're not terrible. My daughter, by the way, was at the Chips game this past weekend. Her best friend's mom was honored with the gymnastics team on the halftime show.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Let's get to Jerry Jacobs next. He's the last of the players I have here to highlight. Jerry came out, didn't play much. The one play, the PI, like I said, it triggered the hell out of me, and it wasn't because it was Jerry, but it was literally the Hitchens picked up flag from the playoffs, and I was just shaking. I was quiet, like I wasn't the scream at the TV, throw the remote and break the TV guy, but my family would tell you they could feel the heat coming off me. I was just inside. I was stewing this whole game. I was angry about so many things, Detroit Lions, but Jerry wasn't it. That throwback just triggered the hell out of me, though.
That was his only play on defense, by the way.
Yeah.
He played one play, got the DPI in the end zone. Look, was it interference? Probably by the letter of the law. Is that enforced that way? That's like getting pulled over for going 26 and a 25. Okay, all right. Yeah, it's probably a penalty, but come on, dude. And the hard part for me was I went from watching that to watching the end of the Browns-Ravens game, and there was a very similar penalty in that did not get called, and that bugged me.
Yeah, no, it did me too. And that's the one kind of little place in the NHL where I kind of find my solace. They do have makeup calls, or they let things kind of play out and kind of even themselves out over time. Not that you want something that isn't very cut and dry, but when you have the subjective stuff like this, at least make it feel, and it didn't feel at all like it was an even game this week. So, all right, let's go. There's a lot of talk right now about Jared Goff, and I will start with the Goff excuses must stop. That was Riz's bullet point he wanted to talk about today. I'll kind of just expound on that a little bit. He's absolutely maddening. I understand he needs talent around him. He makes gigantic errors. He is, I don't want to say solely, but really solely responsible for the crumble of the defense in the fourth quarter, throwing the ball away like that. Just, I understand, you got hit, but you have to.
Ball. I don't want it anymore.
Yeah. He's maddening to me because we see Goff as the guy Goff, and we see Goff as not the guy Goff, sometimes in the same game. Right. And we sometimes had that with Stafford, and he was our last quarterback, the best we've had in a long time. So it's easy to make him the comparison. I think that's why he's always the comparison. But it's not like that. I mean, Goff, when he's bad, he is just achingly bad. And I get the sense right now, I know he's a high resilience guy, but I wonder, with the talent that isn't there right now, how does he bounce back from this? I'm not sure he can. And I just want to put one more point out there, Riz, and I'll hand you the mic on this one. I said at the beginning of the season, if Goff does well or he doesn't, if he doesn't, we'll have his replacement. We'll be in a position to get his replacement. If he does well, we won't need to. And this is playing out right now exactly about how I thought it might if he didn't do well.
It's very frustrating. This was his worst game. This was worse than the shutout game because there was opportunities to have against Dallas. Look, Dallas, I talked about it last week. They are a high risk reward defense. They're going to take chances, which means that you have chances against them. And Jared Goff missed every freaking one of them. There was a tweet that went out this morning that I commented on that got a lot of traction, showing a play where Khalif Raymond spun his cornerback around and had a wide open path on the post. The safety was running forward because he bit on the play action. Also, TJ Hawkinson ran a great route to attract his attention. Jared Goff doesn't have a defender within, 6 yards in a radius of him. He's got a pocket that's fine. He can take 2 steps forward if he wants to, and he doesn't throw the ball at all. He got sacked. That cannot happen. That's a play that a high school quarterback can make and will try to make. And Jared Goff doesn't do it. And there were so many instances, Chris, in this game where Goff went where he thought he should go with his initial read. And this happened in New England too. We talked about it there, where the defense baits him into the throw that they want him to make, and he bites it every freaking time.
Yeah.
And won't even look at the juicier apples that are elsewhere because, this one over here, I can hit that. Like, why were they good early? Because Jared Goff was taking chances down the field because he was stressing the defense. Obviously it's easier to do that when you have more talent on the field. I get that. That's fair. But you got to try to use it. Like, Khalif Raymond was uncoverable. Like, they didn't have an answer for him. It was weird how good he was in that game. Hawkinson, too. Hawkinson destroyed their linebackers in coverage. He got 5 passes. 3 of them were passes where Goff didn't ever even consider any other place. So it was like, unless he's told to throw to Hawkinson, he's not throwing to Hawkinson, basically. And there was 2 opportunities where Hawkinson could have, if not had touchdown passes, at least had like big gains to set them up. And instead they were drives that ended empty. And that's because Jared Goff isn't good enough or isn't trying to be good enough to listen. This reminds me, this is spontaneous. Last year, remember, I screamed, just try. I'm there again. Just freaking try, Jared. Come on. Try.
I can't agree that he's not trying because I know the guy is trying. I know he's giving it his all. And I've heard and talked to a couple people, and the amount of time he spent and the work he's done. I cannot say he's not trying. I just don't know if he's the guy, if he's got it. And when he's surrounded by the right people, he looks great. He looks wonderful. When he doesn't. And I'm thinking, like I said, I'll go back to it. If he doesn't do well, we'll be able to get his replacement. If he does, we won't need to. Looks like we're getting to the point where we're going to be able to get his replacement. We've got what looks like a great offense if you put a good quarterback in there. And you can get his replacement, still have another first-round pick, which could potentially be top 15 or even top 10 the way the Rams are doing right now. And you wind up building out your defense from there. You could be in a pretty good shape as a team. And then Goff became your perfect bridge, gave you all those picks, took Stafford off, and let's face it, Goff would be a killer backup. He would be a killer backup quarterback. And at his contract for the last 2 years, why not? Why not?
I would prefer to eat him and smile, but that's just me. I don't think that so remember how Matthew Stafford, like one of the things with him was like one of the reasons why, and I think it was Bob Quinn that said it might have been Martin Mayhew though, where like why they didn't ever draft quarterbacks when he was here was because he doesn't want that. Like, no, you don't need to do that. Like, I don't need a quarterback behind me. What are you talking about? Goff isn't that way, but he's also not that way, if that makes any sense. Like,
he's maddening.
Like there was a tangible decline with him in Los Angeles when John Wolford showed that, okay, maybe that guy can play, and Goff, he didn't handle that, and he did not mentor him at all. I know he said all the right things this summer about bringing up Blau and Boyle. I was there. I actually asked him one of the questions one time. I asked him, how would you describe your relationship as a mentor for the younger guys? And he actually gave a great answer. I don't believe him. I'm sorry, I just don't.
There you go. All right, Don Burr. He's not the guy at Simple unless you're David from Detroit Lions for him. Studver. It's just hilarious. The excuses have to
Don
stop.
bites hard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll see. We'll see where he's at. Just remind everybody, head on over to amazon.detroitlionspodcast.com, amazon.detroitlionspodcast.com. Get all your Black Friday deals. Get all your stuff. Get all your good stuff. They take a little bit of that money. They take it out of Bezos' pocket. They slide it over to us to help us pay for the show and do all the stuff that we have to do the stuff that we do. And it helps us out. So if you do that with the holiday season coming, you didn't get your Halloween candy in time, you're starting to think of, like, I'm trying to find a PS5 for my boy. I'm looking everywhere. Had a couple people reach out to me. Thank you, folks, for who did that. And it's a gift front, so I'm just looking for a good condition, brand new one. That's kind of what I'm trying to do. But I appreciate everyone's help and offers. And there's a couple you have to get back with, but I'm still looking for that PS5. Amazon.DetroitLionsPodcast.com has everything but that right now. So head on over there and help the show by doing something you were going to do anyway. Thank you all for supporting the show by doing that. Let's get into the next one. Is there a minimum threshold for Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes? Like, if they're 2-15, are they safe?
That could actually happen too. So this is probably a conversation we need to have.
That one stings a little bit.
Oh, yeah, it does. I mean, especially the way, like, the Bears have finally figured out, hey, Justin Fields can run really well. Let's let him run. Like, crap, that's not good. Oh man. I don't know, man. It's so the way I view it, and you can correct me if you disagree with it, Chris, please step in and say so. I don't think last year's record matters to Sheila, to Rod, to Spielman, to the management whatsoever. Like, they understood that last year was a year where they had to get rid of Stafford, and because the Quintricia regime required such very uniquely specific types of players that don't fit in other systems, they knew it was going to be bad. That's something that Jim Costa and I talked about a lot on the Sunday morning show that we used to do in Grand Rapids. Mm-hmm. Like, we knew that the first year after that was going to be bad because they have all these guys that are completely freaking useless to everybody else. And that's true. That's proven true. The only guys who are doing anything are the ones that are back in New England now. Like, all the other guys, like, they're basically out of the league because there's no room, there's no desire to have them. So I think they understood that. But this year you needed to start seeing progress, and we saw progress with the offense early. We've seen progress with the defense late, but both sides of the ball have not played together well at the same time once this season. That's a problem. And I will say that, Dan's coaching decisions in game have not been good. I didn't have any issues Sunday, but that's a pleasant change, quite frankly. And I'm glad that we got it. But one of the things that I put in my film review, I talked about how the offense and the special teams both came out like they hadn't practiced in a long time. And I know they were on the bye, but like they weren't ready. Like, you saw errors that don't normally happen, and they're coachable, like, fundamental stress errors. And like Scott Daly, like, throwing a bad snap. I think it was his first bad snap of the season. You got Chase Lucas, who could have downed Jack Fox's punt, which went about 5 yards longer than it was supposed to. But he got, like, easily blocked off and took a bad path. Like, there was just a lot of little things where they weren't, like, sharp.
Yep.
And that reflects on Dan Campbell. And whether that's fair or not, it does. And so I'll put my Browns hat back on here for a second. I watched them keep Hugh Jackson after he was winless. He went 0-16 and they didn't fire him. And the next season, everybody, and including Hugh, by the way, knew it. We all saw it on Hard Knocks. They knew that if they weren't, like, really good right away, it was going to get pulled in season. And I don't like in-season coaching changes. They bug the crap out of me. Not just because I hate covering, but like it's a shock that it sets you back. Like, look at what Carolina. Look, I know Carolina got their. This, by the way, happens a lot with teams. They fire their coach to get one, like, death rattle, like, exhale of, like, oh my God, what the hell happened? We did it with Darrell Bevell. and then they lose out. And Carolina's not winning another football game. It wouldn't surprise me at all. That's what happens when you fire your coach. They did this season. They went in. Matt Rule was like, basically, dude, you're what? He had what, 7 wins in the first 2 seasons, and like they kept getting worse. And like as soon as adversity hit, they realized that it wasn't going to be happening. Like they pulled the plug. I worry that's what's going to happen with Dan if they're 2-15 this year. Look, he's what? So he was 4-12-1 last year, and he's 1-5 this year. So that's 5-17-1.
Yeah. You're talking about Campbell right now?
Yeah.
As of right now, he's 4-18-1.
4-18. Oh, that's right. We only won 3 last year. My bad. Yeah. Okay.
Well, and let's talk about that. So if you think of the first 23 games from a head coach, Campbell, 4-18-1. Schwartz, 4-19. And I love Jim Schwartz. Morningweg, 4-19.
No way.
And
really?
And then if you go to Caldwell, he had 4 wins in his first 6 games. Now I will say 100% Caldwell picked up a completely different roster, right? I think Caldwell is a bit of an outlier when he came in, and I don't think anybody that
when he left.
yeah. So either way, it's a little bit of an outlier. I don't think it's 100% reflective of Caldwell. I'm not down on Caldwell. I just think we absolutely saw his peak, and everybody in the NFL thought we made the right move.
Do you think that Jim Caldwell gets fired if he doesn't have 10 men on the field 3 different times?
Yeah. Well, didn't it happen? It happened twice, I think, with him where he didn't have.
It happened 3 times, and all 3 times it directly led to a loss.
Wow. I forgot. Oh man.
That's inexcusable coaching malpractice. To again quote my friend Jim Costa, who's now with 97.1. Please give him a listen. He's a great guy. But that's like, if he just puts 11 players on the field, like, does he get fired? Like, I don't know.
So you look at that and you're like, ouch. Now let's take a look from the other perspective. Okay. This year, the Lions have played 4 of the top 5 teams in the league. You're in a rebuild. You're playing 4 of the top 5 and only 1 of the bottom 10.
Yep.
That's and our schedule for the rest of the year is just as oppressive. I mean, I hate to say it, but Thanksgiving, it may not even be worth tuning in against the Bills, right? It's just going to be, it's going to be like watching a gas pump run up. I just, you look at the level of competition. You look at the quality of the teams that they've played thus far, and you're in a rebuild, year 2, with the roster you have and the injuries you have. What do you expect? Right? Again, not excusing it. Just saying this is the situation we have.
I would say that's where the in-game play calling and adjustment situations play against Campbell.
Bingo.
And that's hard because I like Dan. You like Dan. We want desperately for Dan to work out. I think he's done overall a pretty good job. Given the circumstances, I think he's done a very good job.
Yeah. Except
on Sundays from 1 to 4. And that's the only time that really matters. And that's a problem. And I don't know if they're 2-15 this year, like, okay, so a lot of the fan base is already thinking that he's a complete joke and needs to go. Then you're going to add on, what would that be, 1-9 the rest of the season? Like, try to sell that. And I will say, and I did see this in Cleveland, by the way, free agents are going to look and they're like, I want to go with, like, they're going to fire their coach in week 5 next year. Like, I'm not going there. I don't want to be part of that. That has to matter a little bit. Like, you can't, like, because if it doesn't get better, they've got to fire him. Yeah. Like, as much as I hate to say that, like, you can't be, what was Hugh, 336-1? Like, you can't be that. Like, you just can't.
Nope. Well, he's already got that beat. He's got 4 wins. I mean, you got to double. If you double it so that he has 36 games, you're 8, 36, and 2.
Oh my God, that's so bad.
So yeah, no, it's
when
tough.
you say it that like like, okay, being 1-5 is bad, and like I think we all understand that. But when you extrapolate it out to like how bad he is historically, and I hadn't looked that up. That's very interesting.
Yeah, that puts casts a new pall on it, right? And it really makes it difficult. It's hard to defend. Now you look at last year's roster. What did he inherit from the Bob Quinn era, right? And what did Holmes inherit? Right. Massive cap deficiencies, massive cap problems, no talent on the roster. It takes time to build it out. I think we've got talent. I think I really honestly believe Dan Campbell gets all of next year. I believe he gets all unless there's some kind of Jerry Sandusky story or something just absolutely like in over the top with Campbell that happens. Some absolute just cluster bomb of a set of failures. I think he coaches through next year, and I think next year we get a quarterback. I think we load up on defense, and now you've given him what he's got, and he gets his chance. And if he doesn't perform at a pretty high level, the bar's going to be high for him next year. Brad Holmes gets to go get his guy. I don't think Brad's in the hot seat. I honestly don't. He didn't get his guy to start with. And they're not going to pay a coach 6 years and a GM 6 years to go be somewhere else. Matt Rule's making what? Is it
$48 million or $45 million not to coach?
Yeah, it's like $845,000 a week for 4 years.
Yeah.
I would not be looking for another job. I would not. I'd be boom. I'm retired.
You would never see me again.
No,
not a chance in the world.
Nope. I mean, if anybody won the 2022 season, it was Matt Rule.
If you look at it that way, I did.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? How many wins do you think this team can realistically get first? And then secondly, how many do you think they have to get before we're not thinking that an 0-3 start next year is black curtains for them?
Yeah, I think that Dolphins game is an important game, especially being at home. I think they actually have a decent chance at the Dolphins. I
agree.
I think they have a chance against the Packers this year, at least one game too. As silly as it seems to put them in that category, the way they've been playing, if I had to play either the Packers or the Bears right now, I'd choose the Packers. Which seems
I probably would too,
ludicrous.
And especially from a Detroit standpoint, because what Detroit actually does well matches up pretty well with what Green Bay doesn't.
Exactly. And it's if you were to tell me that we're heading into week 8, and I would say that I would rather play the Packers than the Bears, I'd have slapped you silly and then slapped myself silly because it was going to happen. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I think we split with the Packers this year. The Dolphins are. I think we beat the Panthers. The Jags are stunning me right now. I don't know that it's sustainable. There's a lot of things that I don't know are sustainable right now.
Trevor Lawrence needs to be a little bit better. He's better than Goff, but he's not been number 1 overall worthy often. So this came up in the Slack and we were checking it out just before we came on the air. TJ Lang talked about how Goff takes inconsistent drops and the linemen don't know where he's going to be all the time. If you watch the Jaguars at all, that's a massive problem for Trevor Lawrence. That's coachable, and Lawrence is certainly young enough to still be coached that, but it's kind of a weird problem that he has. That's something that they got to fix. I don't think there's anybody in Jacksonville who would say that, I'm so disappointed that we drafted Trevor Lawrence. We should have drafted who went to, I don't even remember. My brain's fried.
There was nobody was going to get Trevor Lawrence. There's no amount of treasure that they would accept that Jacksonville will have taken to trade out of the first spot.
Yeah. Absolutely. Right? They talked about as soon as they won the number 1 pick, like Trevor Lawrence, run that card up, baby. Unanimous. Yeah. But he hasn't been the transcendent player that Joe Burrow has been. You saw, I think Deshaun Watson when he went into Houston was a kind of a transcendent player. I think you saw Lamar Jackson, especially the way that he transformed within the structure of an offense that was designed for Joe Flacco, who's like the complete antithesis of him.
Right.
That's Lawrence hasn't had that kind of impact. And that's also something else to think about. If we are going to get the number 1 pick, and by the way, I will say this, I do not think the Lions will pick number 1. I still think this is a 4-13 team. I agree. I think Miami is beatable. I do agree that I think they're going to split with the Packers. I do think they're going to get the Bears once.
Oh God, I
don't trust the Bears,
diamonds,
man.
baby.
I just don't.
Diamonds.
they're a better team, and they're playing better right now. There's no question about that. But as we've seen, the better team doesn't always win. Carolina just put a whipping on Tampa Bay. Like that, the Lions are due for one of those. They got one last year with Arizona. They're going to get one of those this year. Yeah. Possibly one of the New York teams, maybe. I don't know.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Either the Jets or the Giants, I think, are right because they're both overperforming, right? They're all living the opposite dream than the Lions right now, and I can see one of those two games being the dash back to reality. The problem is they're both at the Meadowlands, so it's. Yeah. I mean, it starts to feel like a home game the second time you're there.
The Jets took a massive blow. They lost Elijah Vera Tucker and Breece Hall. That's their run game.
Yep.
He is their Penei Sewell and their combination of DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williamson. They're both gone for the year, which sucks because I really personally dislike their quarterback, but beyond that, I kind of like the Jets team. Like there's a lot of dudes on that team that I liked in the draft process, and they've kind of all come together, and they appear to be fairly well coached. So I kind of like what I see from them, but they are going to regress. The New York Giants, if you look at all the analytics models, they should be like 3-4, but they're 6-1. God bless them. They're winning games.
Yeah.
There's something called regression to the mean, and that's going to hit them probably soon, but we'll see.
You would think that would happen to the Lions with wins, but whatever.
At some point, Chris, it has to.
64 years ago. 64 years. It's
okay. So I'm gonna throw this out here. This is a completely unrelated tangent, but for all of you who are in the analytics and predictive models, what are the odds of losing 37 hands in a row of Caribbean stud poker? Somebody do that calculation. Put it in the comments for me.
In the chat or the comments.
Because that happened.
Yeah, for real. All right, really quick, I want to ask folks, hit the like, hit the subscribe button, please. We ask once per show for you to do that. It's if you're enjoying the show or you're just sitting here watching, it's passing time for you, hit the like button. Helps other people find us, helps the show get out there, and lets people join the fun, the chat, everything else that we've got going on. And the subscribe button, we're obviously on at an odd time and an odd night from normal. That subscribe button will let you know when we go on so you don't miss anything. But appreciate everyone for hitting that like button at minimum and also subscribing to the podcast. We appreciate you very, very much. Thank you. All right. So what do you think? I think let's get to the. I have to give credit to Alarmed Restaurant from the Reddit on the 4 of the 5 teams in the league and the 1 of the bottom 10 on the schedule. What's your call out right now? Do you think? Let's start with Dan because I think. Do we agree that Brad's safe this year?
I wish there was more heat on Brad, quite frankly, but yes, I agree that he will be safe.
I think there's theoretical heat. Right, he's feeling it. I mean, it continues to get warm the worse they do, but it's not now. But all right, let's talk about Dan Campbell. What do you think about him? What's the threshold for Dan this year?
I progress. 4-13 is progress. Oh my God, it's should be attainable, especially as the team gets healthier. And I gotta say, what I'm seeing from the defense in the last 2 weeks is sustainable change. Like that. They're not going to be the worst defense in the league for the rest of the year. They're going to have a couple games, like they just have bad matchups in a couple of games, but they're gonna even that out. And I think they're going to wind up, especially if they start getting some takeaways, and that should happen. Mm-hmm. They're gonna like everybody's. Oh, the defense is. This is not the worst defense in the league anymore. They've shown that the last 2 weeks, and I do think that they're going to be able to carry that over, but. The offense has got it. Like,
can I point out that wherever Dan's putting his focus is the part of the team that's doing well?
Yes, that's true. Maybe he needs to spend a little time with Phipp too. Although, hey, we got a kicker, Michael Badgley, baby. That made me happy.
Hey,
it really did.
Court Major, here's a mouthful of gargle.
These nuts.
There you go. Have fun. All right, let's see. Let's keep going.
We love Dave. We really do.
Yeah. Let's look ahead to the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins. What are we going to take to? What's it going to take to win this game? What's it going to take for the Lions here? I want to start with, since we're talking Dan Campbell, and we're talking about thresholds. we need to continue to see improvement in his game management. And as odd as it sounds, I know everyone's talking about the challenge on the spot or the touchdown at the goal line and all that, but
it's
Dan
first and goal from the 1. You don't challenge that. You gotta. That's so that argument is asinine, Chris. You are a power running team with that offensive line. You're going to take first and goal from the 1 instead of first and goal from the half-yard line.
Who statistically, and by the way, our running back statistically has a 0% chance of fumbling that ball for a loss. He has never done it in his career at that point.
That's correct. Going back to college, he'd never fumbled there.
Yeah. Whoo! So there you go. That's
how you lose, ladies and gentlemen.
So I think we need to continue to see the improvement in game management. Just for comparison, beyond that, if we think about defensively for the Dolphins, let's start talking about the defense. By DVOA, Dallas has the number 3 pass defense. That's what we played against. I mean, so you're going to obviously Goff with no talent, much injuries. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for him. Miami is at number 31. This is a whole different pass defense. Their secondary is destroyed. We have a really good shot to see that first 3 weeks Detroit Lions offense back on the field against the Miami Dolphins, and that's one of the things that I think is really, really going to help us out.
Can I blow here for a second or advance my cause celeb? One of the reasons why the Dolphins defense sucks is because they play 3 linebackers in pass defense a lot. Even when the other team goes to 11 personnel, which has 3 wide receivers on the field, like Jerome Baker, go cover Khalif Raymond. You can run with him, right? Like that's what they do. Dolphins fans are aghast at how bad their linebackers are in coverage. That should tell you a lot.
Yeah, no. It's we know how much you want to go linebacker number 1 this year, and every year really, Riz. And maybe
they absolutely need a better linebacker. One better linebacker, because I think Rodrigo's going to be fine.
Yeah.
And you can be fine with Chris Board being your backup nickel guy. And then he should come back. Derek Barnes' lack of development is incredibly discouraging.
Yeah, that
hurts. I will say, if he's not working at off ball and it ain't working, maybe try him the way that the Cowboys use Micah Parsons, who, by the way, isn't very good as a linebacker. He's great as a pass rusher.
Yep.
And they use him that way. Again, what do good coaches do? They ask their good players to do what they do well. Often, Dallas does that with Micah Parsons. They only asked him to be an off-ball linebacker. I think it was 5 times against Detroit. And in 4 of those plays, he was in the wrong freaking hole. He is exactly like Jared Davis. He's a serial guesser in the run game, but he's so damn fast that he gets away with it. But he's a phenomenal pass rusher, and when they ask him to do that, he does a damn good job. By the way, Penei Sewell did a pretty damn good job against him.
Yeah, credit to Penei for his performance. Again, he's just over 21 years old. This guy is going to be so great for so long for this team. I'm just so happy. Great job again from Penei against a real monster.
and oh, by the way, let's go back to Penei a year ago after 5 or 6 games where he had played left tackle and wasn't good, and there were a ton of people saying this guy sucks. He's a bust. Yeah. Get rid of him now.
Yeah.
Let him play a little bit, guys. Same with Hutchinson.
Yeah.
Let him play a little bit. I think you saw Sunday. Guy can play a little bit.
Yeah. Absolutely. You get that talent out there, and everybody looks better with talent, but Hutch is a special kid, and he's going to continue. I think in the offseason, with a little bit more NFL muscle and strength and conditioning and nutrition, he's going to come back. I think people are going to be stunned at what that body of his looks like next year. He's going to be...
I think he's going to build up his legs a little bit,
and
he's going to be good. And look, it's 1 game for Pascal. You gotta take that in mind, but what a debut. Like that's really good. Kaminsky sure seems like he's locked in a role for some time.
He's having his resurgence, right?
You get a linebacker. It doesn't even have to be like a premium linebacker. It can be, I'm trying to think of who it would be, like a day 2 guy, a solid day 2 guy.
Yeah.
Like Derek Burns was supposed to be, who can play next to Rodrigo. Probably you want a guy with a little bit more size because Rodrigo's undersized. So and I'm not there yet in the draft process, but this looks like it's a decent linebacking class, except do not take Noah Sewell. Look, I know he's Panay's brother. If you watch him play, I guarantee you will look and say, oh my God, it's Jelani Tavai 2.0, because that's how he's playing this year. And I had this conversation with somebody who's a much more plugged into the draft process than I was. And they said, if you just base it on this season, he's undraftable. Like he's got to start getting better. And so that's where you're at with him. I know Brad went to their game. I will tell you, the guy that he was watching was Brandon Dorlus, the Oregon defensive tackle, who is a perfect fit in the Levi Onwuzurike role, because they're the same freaking guy, except this guy has an actual good back. So if Brandon Dorlus is the second round pick, I'm going to call my shot today. What is it, the 25th of October? I will call my shot. By the way, just random, just came to me. It says, this is the 40th anniversary of my family losing their farm, which is like the worst day of my life. So good times.
All right, on defense, I think we need to play like we did against Dallas, at least the first three quarters. But they need help from offense, and I think that's really what screwed them in the fourth quarter. I want to ask you, because I've got an opinion on this, but you've got Tua, who's a bit mobile, though he's got obviously the issues with the concussions that happened this year and all the news around that.
Stop lowering your freaking head, dude. Help yourself.
I'm feeling like we want to go with pressure on Tua versus contain as far as the defense goes. I want to ask you, where do you think the Lions are going to find more success? Either containing Tua or putting him under pressure?
Oh, you pressure him. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, the only thing I would say is you can do the contain style in the way that, Matt Patricia look right here, the way that they stymied Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson back in the day by dropping all those guys, because Tua doesn't have 1/4 of the arm talent that those guys have. Exactly. If you're asking Tua to beat you over the top, he can't do it. Even with Tyreek Hill, he can't do it. So maybe you let him get a little comfortable. But he's another guy. He doesn't make good decisions under pressure.
Exactly, and I think you play that versus the weak arm. And coverage. I think the weak arm, and I don't want to get over too big on the weak onto his arm, right? But his arm.
It's not Kellen Moore here.
No.
It's not. He doesn't have as good of arm as Goff.
I was going to say he's no Jared Goff. But that being said, I think a guy with an arm that is a little softer than average has more difficulty performing when you put him under pressure. If he gets time, then he's going to be able to put that ball in, because he relies on his accuracy, and you just don't give him the chance to get that accuracy and land it.
And look at who he's throwing to. Like Mike Gesicki is a tight end, is basically TJ Hawkinson who can run after the catch. Tyreek Hill, nobody can catch him. Like they have weapons. That they're a smartly conceived offense for a good quarterback. And in the occasions where Tua plays well, they're pretty good. So you've got to prevent Tua from playing well.
Yep.
That's the long and short of it.
You have to make him uncomfortable, and you have to think, to be honest, especially with all the press around it, the concussion thing is in his head, right? And I don't mean that physically. I mean that mentally. And I think he's just doesn't want to take the hits, doesn't want to miss more weeks, doesn't want all the stuff associated with it. So and with everything with him coming into the league with the injury and everything else. I'm just kind of putting myself, and maybe I'm projecting, but I'm feeling like he wants to play a little bit more defensively, because the availability is the number one ability for him to be able to prove himself. If he's not on the field, he's not proving himself, and then he will hit bust status. That's his only way to kind of solidify his role and maintain relevance in the NFL. So the pressure, I think, is the big thing.
Yeah, I would definitely pressure him. And this is a week like, okay, Alex Anzalone, you can't cover very well. Why don't you go chase the quarterback? Derek Barnes, let's play you where the Cowboys play Micah Parsons. Like, let's let you try to do what Julian Okwara does. And Okwara, again, I had this interaction on Twitter. He's so bad against the run. Like, Barnes at least is understanding of where he might need to be against the run. But Derek also gives you a little modicum of power. Like, he can take a tight end chip and maybe move it back a little bit. I would like to see them try him in that role more instead of trying to force him to be an off-ball linebacker. And I think this is a good game to do it.
Yeah.
Because Mike Gesicki as a blocker is not Brock Wright. He's not TJ Hawkins. He's just not. Look, I love the dude. He's a Penn State volleyball player. You better believe that I'm gonna like that guy. But he's not like he can't block. By the way, they don't ask him to.
Yeah.
Good coaching, huh? We keep running into that. Yeah.
Shout out to Darren Busser. I'm not sure which it is. I'm sorry. We'll say Darren B so that I don't screw it up. Great work, fellas. Thank you so much for that super chat, brother. We appreciate that. That helps settle a great deal. Really love you for that, man. So yeah, the defense needs to get out there, and I definitely believe that pressure wins the game for them. Pascal there, Hutchinson there. If Harris is back, and I don't know if he's back, and even if he is back, we need last year's Harris, not this year's Harris. I think the three of them and Aleem, I think you're in really, really good shape to keep Tua running and moving and keep the pressure. So that's where we're at. Now the offense must perform. The offense, and look, they're especially against this defense, against this soft pass defense. Jared Goff is in a difficult position right now because if he doesn't this week, this is very much, I think, writing his note, his epitaph maybe on the year. If he cannot bring this offense up against this defense, it's going to be really, really hard for him to recover. I think Jared Goff's offense needs to, no matter what happens from the Dolphins offense, this offense needs to outscore the Dolphins offense in this game, or Goff's just in a lot of trouble.
And you can look at like the parallel lives, like Matt Ryan, he looks done, and the Colts have made their change. They're going with Sam Ellinger. Good for him, by the way. He lit us up in the summer, so I can't say anything bad about him because he looked great against Detroit. But so it was pretty clear from most Colts coverage that the Colts players themselves were like, you know what, Matt, we love you, but dude, it ain't gonna work. And they had to make that change. And now the Lions, unfortunately, don't even have Sam Ellinger. They have Nate Sudfeld and Tim Boyle on the roster. So that a change seems incredibly unlikely, but they will like eventually lose confidence. I've seen it. I saw it with Baker Mayfield. I've seen it. I saw it in Houston with Matt Schaub with all the pick sixes. Like, good dude, reliable quarterback for the most part, but damn, man, you throw pick six every game. Like your costs, the dudes are going to turn on you. You're going to lose that.
Yeah.
And Goff is really, really close to that point right now.
Yep.
And I'm not just saying that sitting here where I am. That's coming out of Allen Park. He has got to rescue his own career. And this is a prime opportunity to do it because Miami, look, they had a couple of nice plays at the end of that game, but that game was awful, by the way.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that Noah Igbenogany made a nice play. I like that guy in the draft process. He's been awful.
Yeah.
He made a great catch at the end of the game, but otherwise he's not been good. Missed on that one. Sorry. It happens.
Yep.
This is a defense that he can exploit and needs to. Amon-Ra will be back. Hopefully Josh Reynolds is looking better. Look, in watching Josh, he shouldn't have played.
No.
I commend him for his warrior mindset and trying to get out there, but he was not close to being effective. And this is where the whole depth, like DJ Shark's on IR. Your backup receivers are Khalif Raymond and Tom Kennedy and Maurice Alexander. None of them are the size of Bryce Young, which is scary, and that's a problem. I get that and this is something where Dan Campbell pissed me off this week because he was asked about Goff, but also about all the missing players. I get Swift, and he kind of made it seem like it was an excuse for Goff, or more like he was excusing Goff's play because of it. He didn't say it directly, but it was clear from the tone that he got that was my interpretation of it. And I wasn't the only person that saw it that way. Watch his press conference on Monday for yourself. It's on the Lions YouTube page, and just watch his tone and watch his demeanor when he's talking about that specific answer. That is not good, to be kind. And if Goff is going to have that kind of a leash, that told me right there the Dan can't do anything with Goff, and that is like obviously you're not going to pull him for Nate Sudfeld or Tim Boyle. You're just not. That's coaching suicide. Or you're showing up the guy who's signing your check in Brad Holmes, who, by the way, still clearly loves Jared Goff. And that is the inherent problem that coming forward. If Dan comes to the conclusion that the team needs to move on from Goff and the GM doesn't come to that conclusion, and based on everything I've heard, the GM isn't close to that conclusion yet, that's a conflict that's going to be a real problem this offseason. Because then what do you do?
I'm going to tell you it's not a conflict. I'm telling you they're all in on Goff, and they probably, I don't know if they probably told Goff, we've got you the pieces this year. We've got you the players. We're giving you control. We're giving you get to work with Ben Johnson to build an offense around what you want. They're giving him every inch of rope that he needs, and he has the chance to earn himself a contract or earn us a quarterback. And we have the capital to do it. And that's what's happening. I'm telling you, and they're all in on him, and they're going to support him until the end of the season and say, thank you very much for your service. And the results will determine what the next move is. That's why I think if you see things start going south with this team, you're going to see the demeanor of Jared Goff change. And I think you're going to start to see a lot more like the fourth quarter kind of play out of him, because he is a confidence kind of guy. And I think he's going to recognize, especially when he recognizes there's no coming back, I think that's when you're going to see all the bad. It also gives him every motivation to give his very best until there's no sense in it anymore, right? So I think if they get any kind of turnaround this season or any kind of ride like they did at the end of last season, he's going to be able to ride that and push for it. But I just think Jared Goff is your quarterback to the end of this season. His performance is going to be dictate what the Lions do next, because they have all the cards in their hands. They can do whatever they want once the season is over.
That's the concern, though, is that that it won't be all in, that Dan or Ben or John Dorsey or Chris Spielman. I'm just saying that. I'm not saying this is as hypothetical.
Yep.
That they're not in on him anymore, but Brad still is. Who wins that conflict? Because that is the deciding factor for the team for the next 2 to 3 seasons, and they cannot get that wrong.
I don't think that Brad Holmes dies on that hill, to be honest with you. Brad Holmes knows his job is put talent on the field, and Jared Goff is going to answer the question for him. I really believe that.
I really hope you're right, but I can't say that yet.
I believe that. I really do. And I think that's part of the way this kind of leadership kind of structure and mentality works. While Brad, he does have the final say on it. All those other people in the room, that will cost him his job. It's like Caldwell holding on to Ron Prince forever, right? I mean, it's if you can't make the
decision. He had to be told to get rid of Joe Lombardi, who, by the way, is getting Brandon Staley fired in Los Angeles now.
Yeah. That's what happens when you do that. And I think Brad Holmes is smarter than that, especially because he's a marketing guy. You know, he's got a lot of that marketing space, and he understands it and understands the value there and what the value of words and actions are. I think he really, really wants Goff, and I think he went to bat for his guy, and he set it up. Look, we've got all the things we need to get out of Goff if we need to. So he had the excuse to bail himself out. It's the bridge quarterback. We can build the rest of the roster. He gets his quarterback this year. The quarterback performs. All of a sudden, Brad Holmes is the smartest GM in the league. You know what I mean? If he gets a bad quarterback or he sticks with a bad Goff, then that ruins everything he's got. But Brad Holmes is smarter than that. He's smarter than that. And I don't think
I sure hope so. Yeah. I really do. Because
I
don't have that confidence in him. I just don't. And it's born out of some of the other decisions that he's made. Like you can't make as many decisions that he has that have backfired. And I'm talking specifically about the injury front, but also the fact that like his idea of upgrading the defense was bringing in Deshaun Elliott and bringing back Alex Anzalone. Like he chose that. But
again, he had no money and limited picks and limited talent to start with. I think it's a process that takes time based on what they have. Anzalone came back because they could afford him. That's why it's there. Elliott came because they could afford him. This year, that's going to
And
change a
Brian
little
Dukes
bit.
wanted
I
him
mean,
to, so that's got to throw that.
we get rid of Goff this year. It's 10 million dead cap, I think. And getting rid of him. Yeah. But that's not that much really, but it eats away at what you can spend, right? So you have to think about it, what you do. But I think this year from a perspective of cap space, draft capital, all of those things. And this is where it's important. We go back to that threshold thing, right? You have a chance, if Goff isn't your guy, you have a chance to get your quarterback. You have a chance to get a whole lot of talent to move the needle on this team significantly. Do you do that? Do you do that with the coach you have right now? Do you trust your coach right now? And do you trust the quarterback you have right now? Those are the two biggest questions that they have. I mean, here we are in week 7, week 8, going into the offseason. Those are the biggest questions. Do you trust your quarterback, and do you trust your coach with all of that capital? Are those the guys that are going to turn that capital, that treasure, into a Lombardi trophy? And that's the hard questions you have to ask. The other side of it is, if not them, then who? It's easier, I think, in the draft to take that shot and buy yourself 2 or 3 years with a quarterback than it is to pull in a coach. I guess you get 2 or 3 years with a coach, but if you get Campbell, it's 2. So, right, maybe you only get 2 years with your coach, and it's a complete relaunch of the system again, right? I don't know. I don't know.
And
it's tough.
and then, like I think we all shared a collective enthusiasm for what this regime could do. And again, I think we somewhat had that with Bob Quinn anyways. Most people liked Matt Patricia in general. I do remember taking a whole lot of bull crap because I didn't like him from the beginning. But like, I think that there was more positive buzz and more, I think the fans bought into Campbell and Holmes pretty significantly and pretty easily. Like I think most people saw, okay, we see how this can work. Like now let's go make it work. And if this doesn't work, like you said, where do you go? Do you try the college route? Bring in,
64 years since a champion.
Get Matt Campbell like you tried to last time. I don't know, maybe Kirk Ferentz tries to leave Iowa in his 1966 offense. Who knows? I mean, who knows who will be the hot candidate? Could be Sonny Dykes from TCU. Got them undefeated, beating
Horned
top
Frogs,
20 teams.
baby.
And fun offense. And by the way, their defense is not bad either. I don't know, man. Who takes the job? Yeah. Honestly, like everything else they've tried has failed there over 65 years.
You talk
65 years. Like, do you want to be the guy who's like the next line on that the next gravestone, or do you want, or are you somebody who's motivated by, I'm going to be the guy that changes that. I'm going to be the guy that ends this, and I have a plan. That's what Brad and Dan brought to the table. That's what made them so exciting. And if that doesn't work, like, where do you go? Like, I don't know, man. That's a very dark place to be right now.
You talked about free agents asking, well, do I go there when the coach is going to leave?
Right.
If they fire a coach after 2 years and you're a coach, do you go there if you don't think you're going to get a fair shake to do your team and build your culture and build your plan? Do you? Do you risk it all on that shot, or do you wait till you get to a place that doesn't seem so crazy, if you will, about
like, hey, Denver's got Russell Wilson. I mean, I can go there and play with him.
You're Detroit.
Their defense is the best in the league. They're terrible because their offense sucks, which tells you a whole lot about where the NFL is these days. And I say it many times, if you don't have the quarterback, nothing else matters. If you don't believe me, look at the San Francisco 49ers and the Denver Broncos this year. Those are probably the two best defenses in the NFL. Both of those teams are not good.
They got Christian McCaffrey there in San Fran now. But the thing is if you can't trust,
I can't believe they made that deal. Oh my God.
I know. If you can't trust.
Oh my God. That's going to go down unless the 49ers like win this Super Bowl and one more during McCaffrey's contract. That's one of the worst trades I've ever seen.
What job do you take, Riz, if you don't trust management?
I don't take that one.
I mean, what job do you take? The one where you can take $845,000 a month home for 48 months if you get fired, the Matt Rule role. I mean, what job do you take if you can't trust management? Who goes and coaches the Washington Commandos if Rivera leaves?
Good question.
Right?
A question, by the way, they're asking very seriously in Washington right now.
Yeah. How crazy do you want to look to your potential employees? Right. And look, 64 years. I know it's been 64 years. Fire them all after 1 year until you find the one that turns around in a year. That's not the way to do it. You've got to, you don't have the talent. You're in a tough spot. This team. And it's a big hole to dig out of. It's very much, and this is what I think they're hoping out of. And you're seeing the same results. Jim Schwartz dug this team out of a massive hole. Jim Schwartz was the right guy at the right time for this team.
100%.
I believe that Dan Campbell is very much the same way. He's not the guy that's going to take this team to the Super Bowl. I don't think so. Maybe he learns and grows in a way that he grows with the team and becomes that guy. And I would love that. I would absolutely love that because I think as a human being he deserves it. But I feel like he's a lot more of a Schwartz. And I really think that the next hire after Dan Campbell is the guy, the Caldwell. But you need somebody with a better top end than Caldwell. I think that's where we're at with this team in what we're building right now. Again, Schwartz 4-19. Campbell, he's got a better record. He's 4-18-1. I think we just have to see where this goes because boy, it's a dark place.
I don't think that there's any chance that Dan Campbell gets fired in season. I know there's people that are calling for that. I think that's crazy.
I think it's clickbait. I think it's clickbait. That's what that is.
You said it.
Yeah. A month ago they were calling for 10 wins, season, right? 10 win season.
So I'm going to say as long as they win 4 this year, I don't think there's any real question about Dan going into next year and like being on the Matt Rule seat the way that Rule was this year.
Yep.
Because I think he's going to get that time, and if they're 4-13 this year, they're picking second or third. That gets them a quarterback, or that gets them Will Anderson if he starts doing things again. By the way, if he's not played very well the last 3 weeks, just throw that out there.
Yeah.
If you're not happy with Aiden Hutchinson's production, you might not want to watch Will Anderson against Tennessee or Texas A&M. Just saying. There's going to be that opportunity to build and no, I don't think this is the worst team. I think they're close. And like you put Jameson Williams on this team. I know we talk about this in hypotheticals all the time. Like you put Jameson Williams on this offense and
he's out running Goff's balls all day long.
Like there's a chance for this team to do what the Giants are doing this year, to do what the Seahawks are doing this year, and shocking the hell out of people, winning games that you don't expect them to win. That can be the Lions. Like they're not. That's the frustrating part about the season is they should be that team and they're not, and that's it bugs me.
I'm with you, brother. It's all I keep saying. It's maddening. Because you see, they haven't lost the same way yet. They've lost what seems like every way imaginable, but never the same way twice. From coaching to defense to offense failures across the board. I mean, is all that done? And now they're going to be this big winning team because they've lost all the ways you can lose, or are they going to create, like they always seem to be able to do, a new way to lose? Thinking of regression to the mean and so on. I don't know. They have the talent. They have more talent than the quality of football they've been playing. I'll tell you that.
100%. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah. Oh gosh. And it's maddening. It is absolutely maddening. And JJ, this is it. I mean, they could beat the Finns. I think they have a real shot in that game. And the Pack, really believe they're gonna split if the Pack loses again. The torches and forks are gonna come out, and I can't wait for the meltdown in Green Bay. I can't wait for them to eventually run Aaron Rodgers out on a frog march. The man they love for so many years. That's going to be the final ending to that dynasty, I think. And it's going to be a long Mike Tomczak type haul for that team. And I can't wait to just love that. Yeah. I can't wait for those years to come back and that kind of fun.
Because Jordan Love, he ain't even Goff.
No.
Folks.
No.
Don't worry one bit about that.
No. So I mean, if you turn around, it's like where's the world? I know where clickbait is. Dan Campbell, he's going to be in a Jesus costume in somebody's thumbnail, right? They win 2 games in a row. It's gonna be the clickbait's going to spin on the other side, but they win those 2. The outlook changes. You start putting things
3
in a
and
different
5. Like that's on schedule.
Different
like,
context
that's
for
where
everything.
Most of us thought they'd be.
Yeah,
or most of us who are realistic thought they'd be. I thought I went back and looked. I had them at 2 and 4 right now in my going through the wins and losses.
Yeah.
So
yeah. You missed one.
They're a game back of that.
You're a failure at your job. You missed one.
I did. Hughes will let me know too. Thanks, Bill.
I like him. Yeah, no. So I think that's it. And I think everything happens with context, and there's so much that's yet to be written. The wild mood swings that you see from people begging for clicks are one thing, but it's not. It's disingenuous. It bothers me. I want too much from the media. That's why we do this, because I want to put a little bit of balance between the wild bipolar swings that are out there begging for people to click on their stuff. So hopefully it works. We'll see. With that, we've got the Dolphins. Riz, what's your prediction for the game this week?
Wow. So we're doing this a day early, so I haven't written the football meteorology for real GM yet. I'm going to say, so the Lions are they're 3.5 point underdogs?
3 point last I saw.
I think something like that.
Yeah.
I think they cover. I think this is a game that comes down to which quarterback makes less mistakes late in a game. And for the most part, that has been Tua this year. But man, they don't. They're a flawed team, and their defense is the kind of defense that Jared Goff can get hot against. And that it sounds weird to say that because I've spent all day dogging him, but like he can turn this around. And again, having Amon-Ra back, like I expect this to be a field goal game, one way or the other. Does our kicker make it? Does Michael Badgley make it? Based on everything that we've seen this year, yes, he's 6 for 6 this season. Both of his field goals last week were dead solid, freaking perfect down the middle. Like as soon as he kicked it, I'm like, good, he made it. Like no stress. I like that. Give me that. So this is a winnable game. Expecting the Lions to win a winnable game is not a leap that I can make just
yet. A little bit of a fool's errand.
But I will say, because I'm scarred as hell, man. I'm wildly over fatigued, and I can't see that. But I'm not going to be surprised if they win.
Yeah,
where you at?
I'm leaning to the Lions win. I think it's the home field that pulls it out. I think it's a tight game. I think it's a high scoring game, to be honest with you. And I look, if the difference is going to be on the defense, if they can play like they did against Dallas, if they can tighten up like they did against Dallas, the high scoring will be one way. And there's potential for that, for this game to be a kind of big time win for the Lions, because with the secondary the way it is, Goff gets his Swift back, has a couple other players back.
I wouldn't
count. I'm talking. We don't have the injury report yet. So, he gets a Swift back. He has a couple other players. Amon-Ra's back. I think that they could really, really tear up the Dolphins. And if that defense shows up, you have a good, solid Lions win that just is going to, again, it's going to be maddening because it's like, where was this all year? In the context of who they're playing, you're like, okay, I feel like it's going to be more, like you said, a 3 to 5 point game, but I still think the Lions pull it out, just being at home. And if it's where I think it really is going to come down to early success for the Lions on defense and offense to get the crowd into the game. That's what they're going to need to carry the day. I really do. I think the crowd is going to be a big part of how the Lions perform this Sunday.
100% we're with you on that. And I actually know a lot of people that are going to this game who don't normally go to games. So please enjoy yourselves. Enjoy yourselves responsibly. Have fun. Cheer your ass off, man. Like the team, they're so close to being not terrible. Mm-hmm. And I know that sounds patronizing and weird, but Like they really aren't far away from being good, and that's why it's so damn maddening that they're not.
Last week's defense and the first 3 weeks offense come out in the field, and they're a 7-win team. They're right.
Offense, defense, and special teams all together at the same time. Just once, Chris. Once. That's all I ask.
Yeah.
I don't ask for a lot in the world. I just want one game like that.
Yeah.
Like Arizona last year. Yeah. And
that was so great. Oh,
for those of you who believe in the superstition thing, I watched that game last year, not at home, but at a basketball facility with my daughter. She was participating in an event. I will be at that place this Sunday with my daughter in a basketball event.
Dun, dun.
I'll try to remember what I wore.
Just had to use it. Get a shot for it. All right, there we go. All right, so there you go. That's the predictions for this week. Also, got to remind you, please hit the like, subscribe button. Appreciate that for those who do that. That helps us out a lot. Also, at fanatics.detroitlionspodcast.com, you go there right now. You see some of the coolest shoes you got on the market. The Lions shoes. They got a set of shoes for the NCAA football teams as well. They look really sharp. All the teams' shoes are looking great. If you want a new set of kicks, it's a great place to go. Fanatics.detroitlionspodcast.com. They got all your jerseys, blankets, every piece of merchandise you could think of that's Lions related. They're the main NFL supplier. They supply the fan shop and everything else. Fanatics.detroitlionspodcast.com. Help our show out by doing something you're going to do anyway, by repping your favorite team, whether it's college, football, hockey, basketball. It's all there. It's all waiting for you to share.
They're fun, man.
Yeah.
They're good.
Yeah.
Oh, I shouldn't say they're good. They're improving faster than the other Detroit teams, and I like that.
Yeah. No, it's going to be exciting. I think things will be fun this year, and especially as I watch the starting to wane off the Eisman years in Tampa and watch the Eisman years take off in Detroit. I'm really excited to be able to kind of switch back to my home team versus my new home
adopted
team.
home.
Yeah, where I live now team. All right.
I mean, hey, the Bolts are still good too.
They're fun to watch. They are. It's fun. I love hockey. I love it. I love hockey so much. It's such a fun sport. So, all right. Don't forget about us on Patreon. Patreon.com/Detroit Lions Podcast. Patreon.com/Detroit Lions Podcast. If you donate as little as $5 a month, you'll get access to the Slack chat, which is undoubtedly the most intelligent Lions chat on the internet. Great group of folks. A lot of fun. And some of the takes and conversations this last week have been amazing. Game day is always great, and this week was a fun game day chat. It was sparky. There was doomers, and there was rainbow farting MFers. There's unicorns and rainbows on both sides, and they were arguing hard. It was a lot of fun. A lot of good stuff there. Love that Slack. Get into it. Patreon.com/Detroit Lions Podcast. As little as $5 a month gets you access. It's really great people. Also follow us on Twitter at DET Lions Podcast, at Jeff Risden. DET Lions Podcast and Jeff Risden. It's the best place to go rolling on Twitter with sensible, pants-free kind of content. The stuff that you want. Give us a call on Skype, Detroit Lions Podcast. It's all one word. Or call us in the Lions line at 929-33-LIONS. It's 929-335-4667. You leave a message. We'll get you on the show. Orlando William, thank you for subscribing. Appreciate that, brother. Appreciate you doing that for us. Also, go to DetroitLionsPodcast.com, DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Subscribe to the podcast. What happens when you subscribe, Riz?
It can come in your ear holes automatically, and I like that.
Where else would you want it? The ear holes are the erogenous zones that you've been looking for. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time on the Detroit Lions Podcast. Remember, no pants, no toasters, no hot tubs, no problems, because we're your Detroit Lions and Reddit connection. Thank you all for listening.